This is the 2021 Mazda CX-5, and I've tested out this generation of CX-5 multiple times on this channel, but the reason I'm testing out one today is because this is a special edition trim. This 2021 Mazda CX-5 is the 100th anniversary edition. Now for 2021, Mazda is releasing a CX-5, a CX-9, an MX-5, a Mazda 3 hatchback and sedan in this special edition trim. All of them have an exterior paint of snowflake white pearl, plenty of 100-year badging motifs, and then on the inside, red leather seats, white leather accents, and a few other interesting trim pieces. Now, instead of reviewing this car like I've done in years previous with 3 other Mazda CX-5s, I'll link all of those videos in the description down below, I thought it'd be a good opportunity to take the time to share a little bit of a story. Because even though this car is celebrating 100 years of Mazda being in business, not every single one of those years was spent building cars. The Toyo Cork Kaigo Company was established in Hiroshima, Japan on January 30th, 1920. In the beginning, this company was a cork manufacturer. Then they started to build 3-wheel trucks that were essentially open-air tuk-tuks. These were called Mazda Goes. Then during the Japanese war effort of World War II, this company was primarily responsible for building bolt-action rifles for the Japanese military. But with the climax of World War II and the destruction that came to Japan with the atomic bombings in Nagasaki and Hiroshima, Mazda was fortunate enough that most of their original factory was still intact, so they could quickly start production of the 3-wheel trucks again. And as we know with modern Japan today, they had to grow, they had to be better than anybody else, and that's why they're one of the most advanced countries in the world today. This was the dominant form of Mazda vehicles for the 1950s, where they slowly started to look more and more like trucks over the years, and then they had the brilliant idea in 1958 to attach a 4th wheel. But then in 1960, this cute little 2-door 4-passenger car debuted, and it was called the R360. This is the first passenger car that has the Mazda badge, and that is what this 100th anniversary vehicle is primarily harking back to, is what you'll see in all of the promotional pictures and spiels towards these special edition vehicles. Now, I am personally a massive fanboy of Mazda. I love everything they're doing in their current lineup. I own a 2018 Mazda 3 hatchback. I often wonder if Mazda is my favorite car company out there. If it isn't, it's amongst the top 3 or top 4 for 2 very distinctive reasons. The first reason is that Mazda is one of the last independently owned car companies. They're not owned by a larger conglomerate. They don't have a platform that's shared with different companies and different brands. And one of the main elements to the Mazda story is that in the late 1970s, Mazda was in quite a bit of financial trouble, and Ford was coming in to buy a controlling interest of the company. Now, that interest grew and grew over time, and at one point Ford had a 33% controlling interest in the stake of the Japanese brand. When the Great Recession came along in 2008, Ford, alongside many other companies all around the world, were scrambling to just have cash in their bank account. So this is where they started to sell their stake in Mazda, which Mazda bought some of that back, and in subsequent years Ford kept on selling, where today they own about less than 2% of the Mazda brand. These days Toyota has a 5% stake in Mazda, and this was a partnership that was built a few years ago where Mazda is going to share their gasoline and diesel engine technology, and on Toyota's side they're going to share their hydrogen fuel cell technology and all of the developments that they've made in that area of the industry. Another element to this partnership is the pair of them will be building a $2.3 billion car manufacturing facility in Alabama. I mention Mazda's independence because it directly leads into the second reason why I like this company and their vehicles as much as I do. When you get into a modern Mazda, it's not sharing the screens, the engines, the platforms, really anything with any other car on sale today. So with that, you feel like you're getting into quite a distinctive product, even against its main competition. A lot of reviewers, myself included, will say that Mazda's top trims really do feel like they're competing against premium brands as opposed to the mainstream competition, and this 100th anniversary edition is the best representation of that statement yet. Everything is built so incredibly well, the leather is gorgeous and rich, and you could get into the most expensive form of this vehicle for under $50,000, and it just seems like incredible value for money if what you really care about is build quality, refinement, and something that has a little more personality. As Mazda doesn't share its platform across other brands or other companies, it gives Mazda a unique position to build cars exactly how Mazda wants to build cars. They aren't restricted in any way to something that's been donated to them and then they have to work their way around it to sell the product they want to sell. A modern Mazda is a modern Mazda, and there really aren't many car companies that can truly make that claim for all of their vehicles. Due to their small size and independence, there's almost an underdog quality to Mazda that I quite like. What that means in the context of car buying is that I'm often pitched with people coming to me as that I want to buy car X, Y, or Z. And if that list doesn't include Mazda, I'll mention it. And often the response is, oh, I didn't think of them. Mazda is a little bit of a left field choice, especially going up against their Japanese counterparts. Toyota and Honda are such powerful companies with so many vehicles on the road, and so many average car buyers have a better understanding of what a Civic is or what a Camry is, that kind of a thing. Mazda is nowhere near as prevalent as their competitors because I don't think they have quite as substantial of a product lineup as opposed to many of their competitors. They don't sell anywhere near as many as vehicles, and quite often Mazda doesn't even have a car in that segment to go directly hand in hand and compete against a vehicle from an American manufacturer or a Japanese manufacturer. The first idea that comes to my mind of a segment that Mazda doesn't occupy is the mid-size two-row SUV space, so Ford Edge, Chevy Blazer, VW Atlas Crossport. This is something that Mazda could, in my mind, easily do, create something called a CX-7 and be a direct competitor to those. Mazda, if you're not working on this already, you're welcome to have that idea for free. Just make like a Max Landi special edition or something. But being different is what makes cars, people, places, things interesting. And that's why I have a little bit of an attachment towards Mazdas in general. So in celebration of this car and 100 years of Mazda being in business, I raise my metaphorical glass of champagne to you, Mazda. I hope you have another 100 years of rich history, great products, and independence. Thank you for being you. Cheers.